What should I write? Ah, I know, Macbeth. Our story begins in 1611 in the Scottish Highlands.
When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or rain? When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won, that will be ere the set of sun. Where the place? Upon the heath, there to meet with Macbeth.
What bloody man is that? He can report, as seemeth by his plight, of the revolt of the new estate. This, father, is the brave sergeant that saved me from the capture of the Irish. Hail, brave friend, say to the king the knowledge of the broil as thou didst leave it.
The battle was nearly equal. The villain MacDonald fought against us with his soldiers and cavalry, but he had not enough to prevent the brave Macbeth with his brandished steel from cleaving a path to the enemy, before slicing through him and fixing his head upon our battlements.
O valiant cousin, worthy gentleman!
But their defeat doth present unto us new challenges. When the Irish were sent cowering, the Norwegian king saw a newly formed vantage with which to strike.
Dismayed not this our captains, Macbeth and Banquo?
Yes, as sparrows, eagles, or the hare the lion. If I say sooth, I must report they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks, so they doubly redoubled strokes upon the foe.
So well thy words become thee as thy wounds, they smack of honour both. Go get him, surgeons.
Alas, it is the worthy Thane of Ross.
What a haste looks through his eyes! So should he look that seems to speak things strange.
God save the king.
Whence camest thou, worthy Thane?
From Fife, great king, where the Norwegian banners flout the sky, and fan our people cold. The Norwegian king, with the aid of the traitor the Thane of Cawdor, attacked with great force, but point against point, Macbeth, like the goddess of war's husband, broke his lavish spirit, and to conclude, the victory fell on us.
No more that the Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Go pronounce his present death, and with his former title greet Macbeth.
I'll see it done. Where hast thou been, sister? Killing swine. Sister, where thou? A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. I did request a bite, but it was the rump-fed Runnion who bit. Her husband to Apollo gone, master of the tiger, and I shall sail thence, and I'll do. I'll give thee a wind. Thou art kind, and I another. Sharpen thy ears, sisters, Macbeth doth come.
So fair and foul a day I have not seen. What are these, so withered and so wild in their attire, that they look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on it? Live you? You should be women, and yet your faces forbid me to interpret that you are so. Speak if you can. What are you?
All hail, Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis! All hail, Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor! All hail, Macbeth, that shall be king hereafter!
Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that sound so fair?
Hail, hail, hail! Lesser than Macbeth, and greater. Not so happy, yet much happier. Thou shalt get kings, though thou shalt be none. So all hail, Macbeth and Banquo. Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinor's death I know I am the Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way. Speak, I charge you. Whither are they vanished? Into the air, and what seemed corporal melted, as breath into the wind. Were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten the insane root that takes the reason prisoner? Your children shall be kings. You shall be king. And Thane of Cawdor too.
My lord, the king is overjoyed with the news of thy success in battle, and he wishes to congratulate thee with a new title. The Thane of Cawdor was revealed thence to be a traitor to this land, and thou shalt take his title.
What? Can the devil speak true? But the Thane of Cawdor yet lives. Perhaps he is a traitor, but I could not be dressed in borrowed robes. The Thane of Cawdor's life deserves under heavy judgment to be lost. Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Do not you hope your children shall be kings? Those women did predict correct, so perhaps their tales do not end upon me. Perhaps they were truthful, but they only tell the truth of lesser tales, and you believe the greater, the tales that hurt when they are broken. My lord, while we may talk of such matters that seem not to concern us, I must inform thee that the king did request thy presence. Indeed, I shall leave with thee presently. Is execution done on Cawdor? I have spoken with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons. I must say it is tragic that one on whom I placed an absolute trust could defy me in such a way as this. O worthiest cousin, thou art a dear and unreplaceable treasure to this land, and while I shall do all that is in my power, I doubt I could ever fully repay thee for thy deeds. My lord, it is merely my duty to serve thee. I do not feel that such a high honour of anything you could give me would be necessary, or that I would even be worthy to obtain such a thing. Macbeth, do not degrade thy position in my country, for thou art more than thou believes thyself to be. And to thee, Malcolm, my son, I will name thee, finally, the heir to the throne, that which I have felt thee worthy of for a great time now, and yet felt somewhat obliged to postpone it. Now, Thane of Cawdor, let us travel to thy castle in Inverness, where we may feast for thy success and thy reward. Indeed, my lord, but I must travel ahead to inform my wife of thy coming. Alas, that Malcolm hath become Prince of Cumberland. He alone now blocks my route into kingship. Stars, hide your fires, let not see my black and deep desires. I know what I must do, and I would be horrified to see it. The weird sisters did come to me not a day ago, and told me of such knowledge that thou wert cheered to have spoken to thee. I did attempt to question them, but they vanished, and Ross and Angus came soon after to tell me that I hath been gifted the title of Thane of Cawdor after the last was seen to be a traitor. I would have been amazed to hear such words as it was, but it was made more by the fact that the weird sisters had already told me of my new title before it had been announced. I now believe that the last point they did make will fall into truth, that I will be king. Macbeth. Oh, the man could not be king. I may love him, but he lacks that which is needed to rule. But if it is to be so, then he must do what he will to obtain the crown. The king comes here tonight. Thou art a fool. The king would surely be travelling hither with Macbeth, he who would send word. Indeed he did. There was a messenger that ran hither, somewhat unable to breathe after running from the king's palace to our gates. Alas, that the king shall fatally pass under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe-top full of direct cruelty. Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, I hath read thy letters, and I know thy plan for this meeting with the king. Indeed, he proposes to leave tomorrow. Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Let us speak more of this matter elsewhere during another hour, for Duncan comes here tonight. This castle hath a pleasant seat. Indeed, my lord, it is a wonderful place, not least because of the birds that I have seen nesting upon the ramparts. My lord, it is truly an honour to witness thy arrival at this gateway. Do enter. Indeed, I expect Macbeth is within, and I greatly wish to speak with him. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. He's here in double trust. First I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murder shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Macbeth, the king hath almost supped, and hath asked for thy presence. Go now, and strike him to his death. Alas, my lady, I shall not continue this action set out by our plan for murder. For the king hath honoured me, and I should not jeopardize my good fortune to be in the presence of a great king and respected man. Thou art a coward. How couldst thou merely stand hither while the crown is within thy grasp, and let it fall? Peace, my lady, I could not murder him. 'Twould make me less than a man. No, my lord, thou did promise to murder the king, and thou shalt keep that promise. If we should fail? We fail? But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. When Duncan is asleep, we shall give his 2 chamberlains wine, and when they are drunk, we can creep into his room and kill him. We shall then blame the murder on the chamberlains, who shall bear the guilt of our great quarrel. When we have marked with blood those sleeping chamberlains and their very daggers, they shall hath done it. May you bring forth men children only, for thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Indeed, this plan must work.